Hello everyone, I'm back, and today we are going to talk about our favorite green guys, the Orks. First of all, what are the Orks? They are the most dangerous mushroom that you ever met. In the lore, Orks are incredibly funny and can be incredibly cruel. But the one thing that they are always is efficient. They can build really great things from scraps and even without scraps. Some of the Ork ships are operating with a painted control panel. When there are no buttons, just paint. So it's really stupid, but if it works, it's not stupid. So that's how they work. Usually the Orks have two kind of vibes. One of them called Speedwall. It is something like Mad Max, but with Orks, who are also bodybuilders. The other one is the Beast Nagas, who are mostly Anga Banga Orks. Reject modernity, return to monkey, kinda guys. Other than that, what you should know? Probably that they have two gods. One of them is Gork, and the other one is Mork. Gork is brutal, but cunning. The other one, however, is cunning, but brutal. Yeah, it can inspire many great theological debate. Okay, but why would you like to play Orks? Because you like fun. And many of the Ork players are one of the funnest people that I ever played. One of them even made it to be the best man on my wedding, so they are great. Other than that, in an average fight, you like to use more than 90 dice. And in shooting, you like to do the same, and you don't even care if they hit the target. Even just shooting your guns make you feel that little warmth in your heart. Or you just really like to convert things. Many great Ork armies that I've seen, at least the half of it was converted from scrap. And they look awesome. Okay, but that's enough from them. Let's talk about their rules. What makes you feel orky? You have many great rules. One of them is, here we go. You can reroll or charge rolls. Because you like to fight, and you have to be in fight to fight. Wisdom. If you like the aesthetic of the Anga Banga Orks, you also have the ability Beast Nagas. Basically, when you are making an attack against vehicle or monster, you can add 1 to the attack's hit roll, so you hit better. Also, the Beast Naga Orks have a 6+ invulnerable save, which is still a t-shirt save, but it can be worse. So it's a really durable t-shirt, I guess. Other than that, you have a special weapon type called Daka weapons. You see two values on this weapon, like in the picture. The first one, the bigger one, is what you shoot when you are within half range. The second one is what you shoot normally. So if you are closer, you shoot more. The other rule, called Mob Rule. Your guys just love to be in groups, and it gives them a little advantage in the morale phase. The group is never considered to be under half strength. Basically, if your group is under half strength, you still doesn't get the penalty on the attrition test, and also some of the abilities, like from the Night Lords, give you advantage against units under half strength. The other thing called Ramshackle. When enemy is shooting at you with weapons that is under the strength characteristic of 8, they have to subtract 1 from their damage. For example, a heavy bolter has a strength 5 and damage 2, while even if it damages you, it just deals 1 damage. And the last one of my favorites. War! If your warlord is a warboss, in your command phase you can call a war. Or, if your warboss is a speed boss, then you can call a speed war. What is a war and what is a speed war? Well, these are buffs for 2 turns, but give you different buffs. And you have to call this before your warboss dies. Okay, what does a war do? Stage 1, when you call it, call the war, which means your Ork score and your Ork's character unit are eligible to declare charge even if you are advanced this turn. So basically, you got d6 extra movement, but you can shoot some of your weapons. Also, you add 1 to the strength and attack characteristics of the Ork models in your army. Other than this, the Orks in your army has a 5+ invulnerable save. The second phase, so the next turn. You still add 1 to the strength and attack characteristics to the Orks in your army, and you have a 6+ invulnerable save. Which is really great on normal boys, or bikers, or everything that is not a Beast Naga. And after this, you depleted this ability. That's it. But if you fancy the other option, Speed War is a buff for mostly your bikers and your vehicles like buggies and things like that. So the Mad Max Orks. Okay, let's check out. Stage 1, the Big Race. Ork models do not suffer penalty from shooting assault weapons after they advanced. And each Ork vehicle and Ork bicycle can make 1 additional shot with each of their Daka weapons. And the second part, which is really great. Each time when an orc vehicle or an orc biker makes a ranged attack, improve the armor penetration of that attack by 1. So you get 1 point of armor penetration. The second stage, give them some Daka. You keep the 1 point of armor penetration for this turn. So yeah, it's a little bit less than the first one, but you keep the most important part from that. So that was the war. You can also add custom jobs, and you are also able to create specialist mobs. You can create 1 specialist mob for each battle force detachment in your army. So in Arks of Omen, you're mostly able to do 1 or 2 if you bring a patrol. Let's check out what are these options. Pyromaniacs. You can only give this one to Burna Boys, Burna Bombers, Boomdakas Nazvagons, Deathkiller Wartrikes, Custom Booster Blasters, Nobs or Warboss. So basically those units that can have a Scorcher. You can't really give this anyone from this box set, but what does this one do? Each time when a Pyromaniacs model in this unit shoots a Burna, a Scorcher, throws Burna bottles, or use the Burna exhaust, kill a jet, Scorcher missile racks, or anything that has the Scorcher or Combi Scorcher profiles, when you are determining how many times you shoot. So basically the D6, if you roll under 3, you can still make 3 attacks. So makes them somewhat more reliable. Boom Boys. It is really good on Deathcopters. What does it do? Each time a Boom Boys model shoots with a weapon with blast ability, you improve the armor penetration by 1. Fly Boys. You can also use this one on Deathcopters. If the Fly Boys unit is more than 6 inches away from the enemy unit that is shooting at them, they have the benefit of the light cover, so their armor counts as 1 better. Big Krumpas, you can use this one on the warboss that is inside the box. Each time a Big Krumpas model makes a melee attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. Okay, but you don't have to use this one, because your boss already hitting on 2s. Next one, Mad Boys. It can be given to a character, a biker unit, a cavalry unit or a mob unit. Each time when a battle round starts, you roll a d3 and you can either on 1 or 2 rash, which means when you make a pile-in move, you can move 6 instead of 3. On a 3 or 4, you can be inspired. Each time when a Mad Boys unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll or 1 wound roll. And on a 5 or 6, you can be frenzied, and each time when you make a melee attack, you add 1 to the strength characteristic of that attack, so you become stronger. Truck Boys, you can give this one to the boys, you can give it to Nobs and your warboss. Then that unit became Truck Boys. So they really like to ride the track, and they can disembark even after the track has moved. And after that they can still move, charge and things like that. But when they're making ranged attack rolls, after disembarking, they can add 1 to the hit rolls, which is okay. The good part is the moving and charging after disembarking. So they will have a really great threat range. And if you call the Wog, when the truck moved, they can get out, they can move, they can advance, and they can charge. So really great threat range. And the last one, called Horrible Gits. This one to the Gretchen, you know, the small goblin-like guys. This unit gets the objective secured ability, and if they are near to the enemy, within 3 inches, the enemy has to subtract 1 from their hit rolls, from ranged attacks. The objective secured part is the best, but they can be a distraction for 1 turn or 2. These are really great. But I think the best one is probably the Boom Boys, the Fly Boys, or my favorite, the Truck Boys. Also, I forgot the Sneaky Gits, which you can give to boys, commandos, nobs and warboss. If your target is receiving any benefit from a cover, your unit gets 1 point of armor penetration. It is basically ignoring cover, but worse. When you're playing Orks, you have to choose between clans. There are 7 clans. Each one of them gives you a special clan culture, so special ability. Each of them gives you a relic, a special stratagem, and the warlord traits. I'm not going to talk too much about these. Many of them are really great, and you should check them out. My favorite is probably the Death Skulls. Orks are really fun. And for the last special rule that we are going to check out today, there is the custom jobs. Well, they are basically tunings. Something like Fast and Furious, but much more orky. Okay, there's 10 of them. We are only going to check out those that you can use with this box set. But first of all, one thing that you have to know. You have to pay points for these kind of upgrades. So they are not free like the specialist mobs. But these are just as cool, and you can buy many of these. Shockahul for 15 points. Vehicle only. So Devtrad or Deathcopters. Each time when an enemy unit attacks this model, after these attacks are resolved, you have to roll a d6, and on a 4+, you do d3 mortal wounds. So mortal wounds between 1 and 3. This is really great in things like Devtrads or almost anything that you want in melee. It's a cheap way to get mortal wounds, but you have to be in melee Okay, let's check out the next one. Squeak height tires for 15 points. Vehicle only, but you can't put this one on any aircrafts. So basically flyers or walkers, like the Devtrad or the Kilakans. So you know, the things that have legs. But why do I tell you this? Because you have walkers and you have Deathcopters, which are looking like aircrafts. Well, the thing is, Deathcopters can have this one. I don't know why, but they can have it. Okay, but what does it do? It adds 1 to the move characteristic, and each time the unit advances, you can add 2 to your move characteristic. Okay, and let's check out the last one that you can have. Stomp-O-Matic Pistons for 15 points per model. You can only give this one to Devtrads, Gorkanauts or Morkanauts units. So basically the walkers that are bigger than the Kilakans. It is really easy, you can add 3 to its move characteristic. And you can also add 1 to the advance rolls that this unit makes. So yeah, you will be faster. Because there is 2 things that the orc likes, fighting and going fast. That's it about the rules. Let's check out the box set. Combat Patrol, Orks. Now this one is a little bit pricier. Price? $160 or €125 or £95. Value inside the kit, €225.50. Points value, it's between 510 and 580 points, depending on what upgrades do you buy. What is inside of this kit? You have 1 warboss in mega armor, 20 orc boys, 3 Deathcopters and 1 Devtrad. Okay, let's check out the HQ option first. Warboss in mega armor, 1 model for 115 points. Well, he is a tough lad. He is really good in melee scrap, he is tough, he is strong, and he has great weapons. First of all, he has a shooting weapon with a range of 36, DACA 5 per 3. So he is shooting 3 times, but if the enemy unit that he is shooting at is within half range, so less than 18, he shoot 5 times. It has a strength 5, 0 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. The warboss only has a ballistic skill of 5, so he would only hit on 5 pluses. But if you look at the model, he has a little grot on his shoulder, who operates the gun. So when you are shooting with this weapon, you can add 1 to your ballistic skills. So it's hitting on 4+. He has a really good melee weapon called Huge Chopper. Okay, with weapon skill 2, he is hitting on 2 pluses, which is really great, with a strength of 8, armor penetration of 3, and damage 2. And he has 5 attacks. He has a 5+ invulnerable save, and an aura ability called Warboss. When there is a friendly core or character unit from the same clan, which he is, so that unit is within 6 of him, that unit can add 1 to their attacks hit rolls in melee. So a great melee buffer. Also, this unit has a 2+ armor save and a toughness of 6, so he is really well guarded against anti-infantry weaponry. However, there is a really great relic that you can add at him, because he has mega armor, and it would make him much more tougher. He would gain a 4+ invulnerable save. He can add 1 to armor saving throws, so basically he would have a 1+ armor save. However, on a 1, an armor saving throw always fails, but if the enemy has some armor penetration, basically it ignores 1. Okay, this is really great, but the thing that I love, if this hero makes a charge move with this relic on, and get within 1 to any enemy units, you can roll a d6, and on a 2+, he deals d3 mortal wounds. I think he is a really great warboss, and he is the best warboss on foot. Okay, let's check out the other units. Orc Boys, 20 model. I think Orc Boys are great. You get 2 kit inside this box. Each kit contains 1 boss knob and 9 boys. 1 model costs 8 points, and 1 bare bones unit usually costs 80 points. However, there are many upgrades that you can buy for them, and some of them are really great. First of all, what you have to know about Orc Boys. They have a lot of attacks, and they are fighting really great. However, they can die really easily. They have a toughness 5, which makes them harder to wound than Marines, but if they are wounded, they only have a 6+ save. So if the enemy have some kind of an armor penetration, they just die. But their boss knob is a really great fighter, and sometimes even just him can tear through enemy units or lighter vehicles. Okay, let's check out what do they have. Usually a normal Orc Boy is equipped with Slugga and Choppa, which is basically a big bladed weapon and a pistol. Slugga, range 12, pistol 1, strength 4, AP 0 and damage 1. And the chopper is strength 4, armor penetration 1 and damage 1. But each time a bearer fights, makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. So a basic orc boy without any buffs makes at least 3 attacks in melee if they have a chopper, which is I think their best option. But the other weapons that they can have is called shooter. If the orc boy doesn't have a slugger and a chopper, they have 1 shooter, which is range 18, Daka 3 or 2, strength 4, armor penetration 0 and damage 1. On Daka 3-2 I mean, if the enemy is within 18, they can shoot the shooter 2 times, so 2 shots. But if the enemy is within 9, they can shoot it 3 times. And this is a 10-man unit. So one orc boy can replace their chopper and slugger with the following: a big shooter or a rocket launcher. Rocket launcher for 5 points, range 24, heavy D3, so shots between 1 and 3 and it is heavy, so if you are moving, you're hitting worse. It has a strength 8, 2 points of armor penetration and damage 3. If you hit the target, it can cause devastation and kill elites with ease, but the hitting is the hard part. Or the other option, the big shooter, which is the same as on the warboss. Boss Nob, where the boss Nob is a bigger and stronger orc, he has 2 wounds, so he dies a little bit harder, and he has strength 5. And the boss Nob's slugger and chopper can be replaced. It can be replaced with a lot of things, but I will only go through those that are inside this kit. The first one is big chopper for 5 points. Then the boss Nob will make 3 attacks with strength 7, 1 point of armor penetration and damage 2, which is really great if you want to kill marines. Or your other option, Power Claw, I think this one is the real deal, but it is for 10 points. Then he will make 3 attacks with strength 10, 3 points of armor penetration and damage 2. But you have to subtract 1 from your hit rolls. The new models are looking really great. I think probably the best models that GW done in the current years. However, one thing with this kit that I can't stand: the awkward builds. In this kit you can build 5 orc boys with chopper and slugger. You have to build 3 models with shooters and 1 with a special weapon, so the big shooter or the rocket launcher, which is not bad in itself, but I just don't like mixed units because then they can't do their part correctly. Devtrad, 1 model for 85 points. You can give him upgrades, but be careful with that, because he is some kind of a fire magnet. He will be shot down easily, but he's really great distraction. Well, if he gets into the enemy lines, he will tear them a new one. For 85 points, you get a really sturdy unit. The thing is, you can mix and match weapons on him, but many of them it just doesn't worth it. First of all, you can give him a big shooter. Talked about that, so let's go to the other option. For 10 points, you can give him a custom Mega Blaster. Range 18, assault D3, so shots between 1 and 3, and it is assault, so you can shoot it even after advancing, but then you hit worse. Strength 8, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage D6, so damage between 1 and 6. However, it is blessed, so if you are shooting at a unit that has at least 6 models in it, then you will shoot at 3 times, which is great. But unmodified hit rolls of 1, so if you roll a 1, the Devtrad will suffer 1 mortal wounds. The other option, rocket launcher, range 24, heavy D3, so shots between 1 and 3, strength 8, armor penetration 2 and damage 3. This one is also a blast weapon. For 5 points, you can add a Scorcher, which is range 12, assault D6, so shots between 1 and 6, strength of 5, 1 points of armor penetration and damage 1. But because it's a flamer kind of weapon, it is automatically hitting the target. Okay, and the last one, Dreadclaw. With this, the unit can make 1 additional attack at strength 10, 3 points of armor penetration and damage 3. You can add up to 4 any of these to the unit. But I would recommend you to use 4 Deathclaws, because then, when you are in melee, you make at least 7 attacks in melee, hitting on 3 pluses, strength 10, so in worst case scenario, you will wound the thing on 3 plus, and 3 points of armor penetration and damage 3 is really great. But because this unit will probably get shut down sooner or later, but I think sooner, then if you're running it at its cheapest version, you will have points to other things. And if it gets into melee, those pricey upgrades will mean nothing. Chop your way through them. And also you can shoot the blast weapons in melee, so they will become some kind of a death weight. Abilities. This unit can explode. If this model is destroyed, you roll 1d6, and if it's a 6, then each unit within 3 suffers d3 mortal wounds. So when you set this unit up on the battlefield and it has more than one models, while the other models has to be set within 6 of each other. But after that, they can move separately and treated as separate units. So you deploy them once, but after that they can do whatever they want. It is really great because they only eat up one heavy support slot. Okay, now get ready your quick height tires, because we are going to drift in the air with the Deathcopters. 3 models for 150 points, or more if you buy upgrades. Okay, basically, these are helicopters with rockets, and pistols, and grenades. They are really fast, and they have really great weapons, although they are not cheap. But I think they are one of the greatest units of the Orks. Let's check out what do they have. Each copter has a pistol, but you're not going to use that. Range 12, pistol 1, strength 4, armor penetration 0, and damage 1. Okay, we are 2 at the boarding parts. It also has copter rockets, which is awesome. Range 24, heavy 2d3, so shots between 2 and 6. Strength 8, armor penetration 2, and damage 3. It is also blessed. So if you are shooting at an enemy unit that has 6 or more models, you shoot at least 3 times. But if you are shooting at an enemy unit that has 11 or more models, you will shoot at 6 times. This one is really great. However, for every 3 model, you can upgrade one of their weapons into a custom Mega Blaster, which is a downgrade in my opinion. It is range 24, assault D3, strength 8, 3 points of armor penetration, and damage D6. This one is also a blast. And in the case of the Devtrad, if you roll a hit roll of 1, you deal 1 mortal wound to yourself, so to the Deathcopter. Okay, and here comes the Orky part. Spinning blades. This one is a melee weapon. It has a strength 5, 1 points of armor penetration, and damage 1. However, each time when you attack with this weapon, you make 3 hit rolls instead of 1. So each model attacks 6 times with this one. So in case of the 3-man unit, you attack 18 times. Yes, Orks drive into the enemy with their propellers. Okay, but what cool rules they have? Big red button. When you are advancing, you don't have to make an advance roll, you just move extra 6 inches. And there is also option swooping down. Basically you can put them into deep strike. Overall score. I would give this box set a 7.5 out of 10. This is a really great box set. You get a lot of models, you get a lot of different units, and many of these are really great, or at least decent. Probably you will need some kind of transports or things to make it work, because on its own, this box set is a little bit lacking on mobility for your hero and for your orc boys. But after you pick up a truck, or a battle wagon, or something similar like that, I think this one is a solid foundation to your army. So what are you waiting for? Let's join the war, right? Thank you for watching. Bye.